My fiancée got mad at me for buying my daughter 5 pairs of running shoes because she's a state qualifying track runner, then she demanded I buy her kids shoes too even though they don't play sports, and we agreed to provide for our own kids separately. Posted by you/throwaway_2,948,199. My fiancée, 38F, has 3 kids, 16M, 19F, 13M, with her ex. Meanwhile I, 30M, only have 1 kid with my ex, my daughter, 14F. My daughter is a state qualifying cross-country and track runner. This means that her training schedule is rather intense, with her weekly mileage reaching into the high 70s and low 80s. At her most recent sports physical, I asked her doctor how often I should replace her shoes because I'm sure they get worn out pretty quickly with the amount of miles she's running each week. Her doctor recommended switching the shoes out every 6 months, as well as get 2 pairs of shoes so she can switch out the pair she's wearing every other day or so. However, her shoes may need to get replaced earlier depending on how intense her weeks get. After the appointment, I took my daughter out to a few athletic stores so she can pick out a few pairs. I told her to pick out 4 pairs of running shoes, 2 for track season and 2 for cross country. Then I told her to pick out a pair of spikes for her races. I spent over $300 for her shoes. When we came home, my fiancé saw the bags my daughter was holding, and my daughter excitedly told her about the new shoes she has gotten. My fiancé stayed quiet until later that night. While we were getting ready for bed, she started yelling at me for being irresponsible and a horrible person to her own kids. She said she was very mad because I should also get her kids shoes if I'm spending over $300 for my daughter. I mentioned that we agreed we would each provide for our own kids on our own, and her kids don't play any sports. They all sit in their rooms all day on their electronics. Even when I do buy them something, they never say thank you or appreciate what I get them. She got even angrier, and now she hasn't talked to me still. It's been 2 weeks. How do I handle her anger towards me for not getting her kids shoes when I got my daughter shoes? Additional information from Op on his daughter. Money is not an issue for me. I make a lot, more than enough to live comfortably. My daughter's passion for running will never die down, so she won't quit. She tells me every day that she can't wait for practice so she can go on a run with her friends. Her foot size has stayed the same since 7th grade. She just started freshman year, so I'm going to assume her foot size is done growing. Also, as a runner, it is her responsibility to have a well-balanced diet, stretch, roll out, and utilize her recovery runs and rest days efficiently so that she does not get injured. Of course injuries happen, but she does things so the risk is minimized, and she has not had a serious injury in her running career. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, these are simply my opinions. 1. As a former high school runner of similar caliber, 5 pairs is a bit much all at once. 2 pairs now, 2 pairs when track actually starts, and a pair of spikes for each season would have been fine, and is probably the right way to go ultimately. But buying them all at once probably is what got the shock factor ramped up for your fiancé. 2. As someone who has been in a relationship dynamic similar to yours, any relationship where yelling and insults are seen as a way to resolve disagreements and conflict is bad news. I highly recommend counseling before marriage. On the back end of 2 years of individual counseling post-divorce, I know now how much we both could have used it beforehand. Op's response, thank you for your opinions. I suppose I could have waited, but I leave for a work trip in the beginning of January, which is when her track season starts, and I know my fiancé wouldn't take her to get shoes even if I sent her money for it. It just made sense to me to get them for her now rather than wait. The track shoes are put away and ready for her to take out when track season starts. Though I do want to say that money is and never has been the issue. It's what I spent my money on for my daughter that my fiancé has issues with. To your comment on therapy, she has been medicated for depression and anxiety since she was 20. She goes to therapy herself weekly, but she doesn't like the idea of me going with her. More context, 8 days later. My daughter's Nintendo Switch completely stopped working earlier this week. She got it the month it was released, March 2017, and has kept it in good condition for over 6 years. Yesterday she had her conference cross-country meet, where she both got a personal record and qualified to run state. To celebrate her new achievements, I took her out to eat and then bought her a new Nintendo Switch with a game she picked out. My fiancée came back from her parents earlier today and saw my daughter playing with her Switch. She asked me about it after my daughter left with her boyfriend, and I told her that I wanted to celebrate her accomplishments in her running career, so I got her a new Switch as a gift. My fiancée then got really angry and told me that if I'm going to buy my daughter something, then I have to be fair and buy her own kids something too. I pointed out that I do buy her kids gifts when they reach goals and achievements too. For example, I bought my stepdaughter an expensive Hello Kitty necklace as a high school graduation gift, and I let both the boys pick out 2 video games when they both passed their final exams. She told me that it's unfair I spend more on my daughter than I do on her kids because I make a lot more than her. My fiancé then got angrier and accused me of not liking her kids because of the different financial treatment between her kids and my kid. She left with her 2 sons, but her daughter stayed with me at the house because she's on my side. I got a bunch of texts from her family calling me a selfish jerk for treating her kids differently when buying gifts. Am I the jerk? Edit, to answer some common questions, because there's a lot of comments and it's hard to get to all of them in a timely manner. How does your fiancé treat your daughter? My daughter and fiancé don't interact much. They're both polite to each other, but they simply don't talk much aside from small talk and my daughter asking her some questions about cooking food. I have mentioned to my daughter before that if my fiancé ever were to mistreat her, she needs to tell me and I will always have her back no matter what. To my knowledge, my fiancé doesn't mistreat her at all. They just don't talk much. Do you have a will or trust fund in place? I have a will set up that gives my daughter everything. My will is safe with a very trusted lawyer friend of mine. I also have a trust in place for my daughter, and she will gain full access to it once she turns 21. Did you have this argument in front of her children? No, she called her kids down and told them what we were arguing about. I told them my side, and her sons took her side and left with her. What is your relationship like with her kids? How are they with your daughter? My relationship with her sons is unfortunately minimal. I try to talk to them about their favorite topics or hobbies, and they either ignore me or shut the conversation down as soon as possible. I don't talk to them much either, other than when they come to me for advice on things like school, friends, etc. My relationship with her older daughter is very good though. I'd like to think we are close. As for my daughter, she doesn't talk to her stepbrothers much, but she's extremely close with her older sister. My financial situation is that I make over 6 figures. I do have a savings account for myself and one for my daughter, and of course other accounts that store money for bills, emergency, etc. I have also mentioned this before, but my daughter's grandparents, my parents, opened a college fund for her when she was born, so I do not need to worry about that. Also want to mention that my ex and I have a great relationship and we co-parent our daughter really well. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Info. Do your stepkids or fiancé ever congratulate your daughter on her accomplishments? Do they attend any of her games? Ops response. My stepdaughter does congratulate my daughter, but my fiancé and stepsons do not. My stepdaughter has shown up to some cross-country meets and indoor track meets before, especially when they're close to our house, but neither my fiancé nor the sons have shown up. Commenter 2. Does your fiancé take an interest in your daughter and her running? Or does she just take an interest in what you spend on your daughter? Ops response. It's only what I spend. She doesn't care about my daughter or her running. Commenter 3. It seems to me that your fiancé and her sons are entitled, jealous jerks. Why are you even with this woman? Ops response. She makes me feel loved, makes me feel wanted. That's all I can say. I do feel bad for not supporting her sons equally and their mom thinks I'm playing favorites. Commenter 4. You might want to start documenting these occurrences to protect yourself. Putting my money on your fiancé claiming you abuse her or the kids when you finally get fed up with her stuff and kick her out. She sounds like the type to claim abuse to try and get you arrested, to extort money, or to try and save her reputation. Ops response. I have never thought of it this way. I will start documenting things from now on if this is how it may end up turning out. My daughter means the world to me, and I'll make sure to protect us both. I'll definitely be revisiting my will and trust fund to ensure everything goes according to plan if I ever do pass away. I appreciate your comment. Update 1. 1 week later. Last night my daughter came home from her boyfriend's house in tears. I thought something happened with her boyfriend, but it turns out he's fine. She told me that while I was on my business trip, my ex tried to guilt trip her into giving her own money to my fiancé, and when my daughter refused, my ex called her selfish and told her she was spoiled. This continued to happen multiple times during the 3 weeks I was on my business trip, but my daughter finally told me after her most recent meet, which was Saturday. I called my ex and told her to come over to get her stuff, and to pack whatever belongings she has before I come home from work in 30 minutes. I gave her 30 minutes to get all her stuff and leave. She had her own car, so she packed her stuff, loaded it, and drove away to her parents' house. I'm done being an ATM for that lady, and it's crazy to think how strangers on an app made me realize how I was stuck in such a toxic, manipulative, and abusive relationship with her. My now ex-fiancé won't be a problem anymore, I hope. I don't think I'll be with another person for a long time, but thank you to everyone for the support and kindness. Edit. My ex's daughter will be staying with me, and I will financially support her through college, and I will also help her get her own place. Her and I are on good terms, and I want to make sure my ex will not be using her as a token to manipulate me any further. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Did she change her tune after you told her to pack? Any apologies? Or did she just leave bitterly? Ops response. She started crying and begging me to let her stay, no apologies though. I felt bad because she kept saying I was leaving her poor and defenseless, and now she has to stay with her parents. Commenter 2. So happy for you and your daughter to be rid of that toxic person. Most of the time it takes another person to point out something that you don't see. That's when you start to see that person in a new light. Rose-colored glasses for sure. Will you still try having a relationship with her daughter? Sounded like you, your daughter, and her got along well. Sad her boys didn't even attempt to play nice with you even after all you did for them. I bet their mother was manipulating them so you couldn't have one. God forbid they like you more than her. Ops response. Since her daughter is a legal adult, my ex doesn't have a say in where she lives. Her daughter will continue to live with me until she's able to get herself her own apartment, but she still has contact with her mom. Commenter 3. I may have come across as quite harsh yesterday, but my intentions were to try and make you see how bad it actually was for your daughter and how much you were manipulated. Well done for putting your daughter above all. Do not let her friends and family bully you into taking her back. Good luck and protect yourself and your kid. Ops response, your comment stood out to me because it addressed the reason why my daughter might not be telling me what really goes on when she's alone with my ex. I plan to talk to her later today when I pick her up from her boyfriend's house. I received a lot of harsh comments, but I realize now it was necessary. I don't think I would have been able to leave my ex if people on the outside were nice to me about it. Commenter 4, bravo for tossing this gold digger out. Bravo for choosing your daughter. She left. The trash took itself out, and I think it may well be apparent why the first marriage failed on her part. Just hope she isn't knocked up, and if you do hear anything about it, make sure there's a paternity test. I just hope not, because you will end up chained to this woman for a long time. Ops response, I got a vasectomy as soon as I turned 18. I mentioned this before, but both our intimate drives were low, and mine was even lower, so our intimate life was pretty non-existent. If she showed up on my doorstep claiming she was pregnant, she would need to have some proof that it's mine, or I'd get a paternity and DNA test done. Update 2, 12 days later. I wanted to make a post to say a few things, mostly to answer some questions and also because I saw my posts get reposted in a few subreddits and they have gained lots of popularity. I just want to start off by saying thank you so much to everyone for the kind words. Your support means so much to me, and I truly am grateful for the community here. Y'all have opened my eyes and have helped me a ton. Of course there's the other side of the coin where I got some hate, a few comments claiming my life is fake and nonsense, and then some weirdo in my messages asked me for pictures of my daughter's feet. It's not worth my time to focus on the bad side, but regardless, thank you to everyone for your input, all of it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. A popular question I have seen get asked around is how the heck I got multiple pairs of shoes for $300. The answer is simple, discounts. A good friend of mine owns an athletic shoe store downtown, so I went there. Got a discount because she goes to the local high school and because she's on the team, also because he's my friend. I'm eternally grateful for him. He's done me real good. On the topic of shoes, many people have asked me why I have gotten my daughter track shoes now even though it's cross-country season. The answer to that is also really simple, I won't be here. I leave for a work trip when her season starts, so in my mind it made sense for me to buy her all the gear she needs now while I'm still here. Though I suppose it doesn't matter much now because her season is quite literally about to end, and then indoor track season starts shortly after. My daughter and I are fine. I got her into therapy, and I think it really helps her. My ex's daughter is also fine. I offered to get her into therapy too, but she said she'd handle it on her own time, so I figured I'd just let her handle it on her own. She's an adult, and I now recognize that she's capable of being responsible with her mental health and recognizing when she needs to get help. Both girls know they can come to me whenever, wherever, for whatever. I did get security cameras installed, and nothing has happened. It's been peaceful. Also, to answer another common question, yes, I became a parent at 16. It was not my choice, but I'm glad something good came out of that situation. I work in a chemical plant, and I've been working there since I was 19. I got extremely lucky with this job because, truth be told, I didn't even go to college. I'm grateful for the opportunities I've had to be working in a good paying job with just a high school diploma. Thank you again to everyone's support. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, good to hear your daughter is in therapy and doing well. Any update on your ex after you broke up with her? Did she try and pull any gold digger stunts, or did she leave peacefully to her parents? Ops response, nope, it's been peaceful. Commenter 2, when did the ex move out? How did that end? So happy to see you and the girls doing good. Ops response, I kicked her out last week. As you can imagine, she was definitely not happy with that. Commenter 3, good on you, Op. You are a great dad and stepdad. What was your stepdaughter's relationship like with her mother? It's interesting she chose to stay with you and the boys go. Did she favor the boys and treat them differently? Ops response, from what I can tell, she actually favored her, I think, because she's the oldest and is her firstborn. She did baby and coddle the two boys a lot though, especially the 13-year-old. Commenter 4, have you tried reaching out to the sons? Sucks that they are the ones caught in the crossfire here. I guess there isn't much you can do if they don't want a relationship, but it sounds like they need a good parent, and probably therapy, more than anyone, well other than your ex of course. Ops response, I have not tried reaching out. I don't have their numbers anymore, and I don't want to contact their mom for any reason.